Good morning. Sorry I'm late, guys. Hold on, let me just wipe something off of the screen. There we go. All right, sorry I'm late. I had an emergency appointment. Everything is fine. I just had to go get my blood drawn again. Ugh. But they literally could only fit me in like this morning, like right first thing at 9. And so I had to I'm like terrified of giving blood, like terrified. So I've got this numbing cream. So I had to put the numbing cream on. And then wait, you're supposed to wait an hour, but it wasn't, I didn't wait an hour. But anyways, that's regardless. Everything is fine. It's just to make sure that like my kidneys, my liver is fine and all this kind of stuff. But appointments can be hard to get. So they were like, come in now, we can do it. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, okay. I will come. But yeah, everything's all right. Today we're going to do this triangle tree here. And we're going to do a split stitch with a direction. So we want to make sure that all of our stitches are going down in like this. Obviously, you could do something else. So if you wanted to do a split stitch straight across all the way up like this, you could do it like that. If you wanted to make it a little bit more smooth, like these guys over here, you could just do a satin stitch and that is fine too. But I thought we'd learn a new stitch and we would try the split stitch. Now, some people really like the split stitch because it gives a lot of texture. Jessie, get out of there. Get out of, that's my thread. No. No. It gives a lot of texture. But some people don't like it because they don't like the texture. So it seems like you're in one of two camps. Do you know what I mean? So let's zoom on in here and we'll get started. So I've chosen this bright color green. I haven't used it yet. It's very similar to this one. It's just brighter. Yeah. I haven't used it yet. I just think it's a nice color, really. So I've got 4 strands. I've already separated it. You can use either way to start. You can do the loop start like I showed last week, or you can just do a little knot on the end. Or you can do no knot and leave a long tail on the back and do them later. It's completely up to you. All right, so I need to get a pen because I want to draw the little lines on there so that you can see a little bit easier what I mean by the direction of the stitches. So just like these are poking out like this, I want to keep all of my stitches on an angle like this. And then up here, you can choose what you want to do. You can either do a tip like this, where this side goes over, and then the middle goes straight up, and then this side goes over again. Or you can pretend like this is 2 sides of the tree and have the line go all the way to the top, meaning that you would go like this all the way to the top. So this can be your choice, or you can make the stitches on an angle like that so that they're straight on the top. This looks crazy until you stitch it. It looks like, what are you doing, Tori? But it's gonna work. So with the split stitch, we're looking for that texture and we're looking for every stitch to go into another stitch. So I don't like to keep mine really, really short, but I also don't like them really long either. Don't worry, I put Honky Peg away, so they will not be keeping, no Honky Peg today. Okay, so for here, if you go all the way down to the stem, then that's just a satin stitch. So we want to keep them shorter, but each stitch is going to split into this stitch. Now I've only got the 4 strands, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, I have to go right in the middle, like 2 and 2. You don't have to do that. You're just going to go into this stitch. So you can go 2 ways. The first way is to come up a little bit farther pull it through and then go down into this stitch like this. So every stitch will go a little bit farther and down into the stitch, and then a little half stitch to make sure that we split that last one. So this is going to be worked in rows like this. So we're just going to go one more over. This is another one of those that takes longer than just a regular satin stitch. If you did a regular satin stitch, then you could do, you know, 2 or 3 stitches and you'd be done in this section. But we're not doing that. So I've just shown you the other way that you can do it. Okay, so the other way is like this. I'll move it over so you can see it a little bit better. Is you come down like this, but instead of coming up farther and going down into this stitch, you're going to come up through the back and up through the stitch. I was worried I overslept. No, Mel. It's totally me because I had that appointment. And I did post it, but I was like, oh, this is really late notice. I really hope that no one like is on at 10. I did get a couple messages like, oh my goodness, where are you? I was like, I'm so sorry. Now these look the same to me. Like I don't see a difference between these. It's just more, what is your personal preference? I tend to do a mix of both ways. So sometimes it's easier to just go up through the back. I've got a knot. And come up in the stitch. And sometimes it's easier to do it the other way and go forward and back into the stitch. So for me, there's no right or wrong way here. We just want to make sure that we've covered all of this. So it will take a little while. Tomorrow's stitches, they aren't as time consuming as this one. So you can always catch up later. And sometimes you'll have some stitches where you aren't going to go the full length. So we work them in lines, yes. We're going the full length from here all the way to the middle. Sometimes you won't have a full length like that. So it's okay if you just need to add another one in here like this. So I'm just going to add one there because that's all I need to fill up that space. And then down here, I'll add a couple more too, just so I can fill it up. And if you notice, I am avoiding the stem, the tree trunk. So all of these here, I'm going to go around because I don't want to fill in the tree trunk. If you wanted to fill in the tree trunk, that's okay too. But you just have to remember where the spokes are, where the spikes are. So let's get the black one. Jesse's right behind me, of course, of course, of course. Just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. Is there one higher than that? I think that's probably the end of, because I made all the things and now I can't see them. Oh, it's hard to color in when you don't have anything to rest your hand on. And then obviously the stem. And it gets a little bit wider at the bottom as you work it down. So we're just going around that stem. So this is one of those that I'll probably do like half and then show the stem, and then you can go back and do the other half later. So really the only rules of this one are every stitch is split. So you really shouldn't have any stitches that are just plain stitches. Everyone should be split. And we just want to keep the same direction the whole way. So that's why we've done the guidelines going all the way up the side. Hi, those of you who are just joining. Now it can feel a little bit wild sometimes when you're doing the split stitch, because you just feel like you're stitching and stitching and stitching, and like there's no like pattern or like rhyme or reason sometimes to it. But as long as you keep it in the straight lines and try and work it in lines, and then only add more stitches when you need them in small spaces. So like I had to add a couple around here because of the angle of this little branch, so I had to add some more around there. Very similar to this, it was the fox when we did like the, I don't want to say thread painted because it kind of was, but it kind of wasn't. The thread painted fox, I'll say it like that, with the, you know, thread painted. Because that's kind of like a mixture of long and short stitch, and some of the stitches were split as well. So it kind of like, I should call it like freestyle or something. So when we did the fox, that kind of like mixed a bunch of styles together, a bunch of stitches together. So as you get less space, obviously you're not going to be able to put as many stitches in. And that's okay too. I do find this to be a little bit longer, like I said earlier. It takes a bit more time. And if you get a little bit off track, you can always just add a couple in as well. Let's put this in the middle maybe. And I should probably go turn the light on because the sun is gone. We had fog here today, so bad. Couldn't see very well at all. I am gonna do that. Hi. There, that's a little bit better. I didn't split that one, so I'll go back and do that. Now, obviously, if you leave a couple that are not split, that's okay too. Like, you don't have to be so like rigid with like, oh my gosh, everyone should be split. It's just to keep it more like uniform looking, you know, because if you have any that aren't split, sometimes they'll jump right out at you. Yeah, split stitch is a really great outline stitch. Someone just said, I love the split stitch as an outline stitch and use it quite a bit, but never thought of it as a filler stitch. It probably isn't a great filler stitch because it takes forever. But it is something different, and it's a different way to use it. So there's always that. And then when we're all done, you can choose if you want to go around it if you want to. Again, with the same, even with the same color, it'll just like sharpen up those edges a little bit and make them a little bit more, you know. But that's, again, up to you. If you would like to do that, you can. And if not, that's okay too. Also, this weekend on Saturday, I'm going to have, for the Birmingham Etsy market, I'm going to have a workshop Saturday. I think it's going to be at about 4 p.m. our time, my time. So if you're in the East Coast, that's 5 hours behind. So it would be at 11 a.m., which I think is like manageable for people if they would like to join. I'm going to sell kits for it and a PDF pattern. So if you'd like to do a little 3-inch Christmas themed something, then you can. It's not free, unfortunately, because it is a workshop, but yeah, there's that. So it's going to be a little 3-inch guy. I haven't got the design all the way completed though. So there's that. That's going to be on the list for today. So there will be kits if you live in England. And if you don't live in England, then I'm going to save the video and put it onto my YouTube as a private link so that if you do want to join, then it's like it'll be something that's just for people who pay, you know? Kind of like the snowflake ones were. My dream would be like to have a website where people can log in and then like we can all go live together and watch it, and you can keep all your videos saved and all your purchases. Whoa! Why have I done that? Got a bit too crazy, I think. Also, I had a couple questions about my scissors. These scissors specifically, they're from Warm Crochet. It's a company in, I think they're in Russia, maybe? Very sharp. I do need to sharpen them again, though, because I can tell, because I've used them for so long. I can tell they need to be sharpened. And a couple people said that their embroidery scissors were really dull, and so they had to buy more. You don't have to buy more. Just use tinfoil. So you just take the tinfoil and fold it over a couple times, and then, you know, slice it with that, and that will sharpen your scissors. So there's your top tip for the day. So that's why I never buy new scissors when I really should, just because they're pretty. And that's mostly because I just keep sharpening the ones that I have. Okay, so let's fill this top in. And then I'll show how to do the bottom part, not bottom part, the trunk. And then I'll do the bottom part later, like if we have time. So at least you know how to do the whole thing without having to watch 45 minutes of me doing the split stitch. L Mint says, I buy so many pairs of scissors because they're pretty and I have a problem. Yes, Patty, you just cut the tinfoil. I swear by it. Okay, so obviously I'm going to make mine go this way. I do love the scissors, but so many people have such good scissors and they're from the States. And unfortunately, anything over 15 pounds, like if you put anything over 15 pounds, which is about $20 on your customs form. So when you send something to me, like if you were to send something to me, you have to put down what's in the package and how much it cost. So if you put anything over $20, I have to pay 20% of that as a VAT, which is tax, and then plus another $10. So 20% of $20, say, is however much, plus $10. I don't know what that is. So yeah, it gets a little bit like, ugh. That's why, like, whenever my parents send me stuff, I'm like, please don't send anything. It's so much money, and then I have to pay too. Okay, this is getting very tiny up here, so I feel like you get the point, yeah? I'm not splitting them anymore. I'm just using them like this. do a sharp one, and then we'll come down and split that one. Goodness. I do hate customs. Lots of nice UK sellers though. Yes. I know. I only know the ones in the States because a couple of my friends sell scissors, and then I'm always like, oh my gosh, those are so pretty. And then every time I go to buy them, I'm like, don't do it, Tori. Don't do it. It's 4 strands. Okay, so in the middle, you can either continue with the split stitch, which would be lovely, or you can try one of the other stitches that we've already done. So for example, if you wanted to do this kind of thing like this, you could always do the fly stitch down the middle, obviously upside down. Yeah, so that they would be pointing up like this, boom, boom. You could do the feather stitch because they're not necessarily symmetrical in the pattern. Oh, I thought I had a pattern here so I could show you because you can't really see very well. Because it seems like one is like on this side and then one's a little bit higher and then one's a little bit lower. So with that, they would be great for the feather stitch like we did for this tree here because you can really like boom, boom, boom like that. Anything else? Any other ones that you think? Yeah? I'm trying to decide if I want to do like a chain stitch here, if I want to save that for a different day. I think I'll probably save it for a different day. So yeah, try and pick one for yourself. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, obviously, because I'm not just going to leave you hanging. Like, do your own thing, guys. So I'll show you what I would do. You could also do like a stem stitch in the middle, really, and fill it in if you wanted it to be like twisty looking. I might actually do that because it'll pop up a little bit better. So yeah, a lot of people, like the number one question that I get asked is, how do you know what stitches to sell where? Or not to sell, I was reading a comment. What stitches to stitch in what places on your pattern? Like, how do you just bam, 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 that's what stitch to use? And the answer is very simple. Do what you want. Obviously, some stitches, they only work in certain ways. So like the fly stitch, you can make it open and make a vine or a tree, or you can make it closed and make a more filled in look. Obviously, satin stitch, it's great to fill a big area and for it to look smooth. Split stitch, you can do an outline. You can use it to fill a big area, but it looks textured. So they all have different attributes and properties to them. So that's always something to think about when you're assigning stitches. You can also think of like, what does the texture look like? So you could do down the middle if you wanted it to be like a little bit twisty, if you wanted it to pop out a lot, if you wanted it to blend in. It just depends on what kind of style you want to. And it's the same with the number of strands. So if you want something to be nice and smooth and sleek, go for 1 or 2 or 3 strands, because the less strands will give you a more smoother look for everything. But if you don't mind it being a little bit chunky, a little bit like a bold line, then go for 4 or 5 or 6. But you only learn by doing it. So that's why I try and put as many different stitches in the stitch-alongs as possible, because then you can try them all, you know? So I think I'm gonna do a stem stitch down the middle and then for each branch. And I think that will give a nice twisty kind of look to it. And I think it will make it look like a tree branch. But again, if you want to do something else, then do something else. Just try. Just try. You could also do split stitch and just use a different color, and that's fine too. So I've got the same brown as here, and I think I'm going to change it so it's not 2 browns right next to each other, because I've just noticed that. Let's see if I can get a dark brown. Yeah, I'll do that. And I think I'm going to use 4 strands again because I'm going to be layering them up right next to each other. So it's not going to be just 4 strands. It's going to be like, you know, a couple different goes to it. So we did stem stitch. I feel like I've just like, let me stop my TED talk right now, you know? Goodness. I get on a roll and then I can't stop preaching. Hi, Mary. So I've got 4 strands. I feel like that's not the right color, but I'm gonna go with it. I'll be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna start here and go to the tip. And we've already done the stem stitch, so you should already know how to do that. I'm gonna make mine kind of longer for the middle part. Yeah. And go up just a half a stitch length so that here and here and here and here are about the same. And for this one, we want to get quite close to the stitches that we've already done. So all of these branch stitches, and I'm not doing any of the branches right now. We're going straight past those all the way up the tip. So I'm not going into the green. I'm just going right next to it so that it fills in all of those extra little white bits. Yeah, there. And I've got 4 strands for this as well. I forget where to stop. I don't know how far to go up. Oh, Tori. Here we go. Farther than that. A little bit more. Maybe like to here. Morning. Okay, now coming back down, you can either go all the way back to the bottom and come back up again, or I'm just gonna turn it like this and go back down and make it thick where it needs to be thick. So this one, I'm gonna come up kind of in slash next to, because this is where I want it to start getting, let's try not to give you guys whiplash. This is where I want it to start getting thick again. So we'll go right back down. And I'm keeping this one quite close to the first one we did. And if we have to do another one, we can do another one. And I'll turn it back the other way. Now, you don't have to turn your hoop if you don't want to. You can keep it the same and just go back down the other way. That's okay too. So let's have a look. So I still think that this bottom has to be a little bit thicker because I want it to be thicker at the bottom and then go thin to the top. So let's do another one. Ooh, I want the thing to go the other way, because then you won't be able to see the stitch. Hello, Marissa, Argentina. I love how many different places you guys are all from. It's like so fun. And somebody asked me earlier if I were to do an outline, what color would I do? Isn't that what the question was? I can't remember. Hi, George. But I would probably do the same color. Would we do the other side of the tree first, the trunk? Only if you want to. I'm going to do it this way. The stitches you can just tuck in on this side. So it doesn't actually have to be, like you don't have to do one thing first and then the other. And I'm just going to add a little one down here because it looks like I didn't put it down all the way, you know? Like that. And then for each of these little guys, we're going to do exactly the same. So jump up here. I was asking what stitch you would use for the outline, but the color suggestion was cool too. I was trying to remember what the question was. But yeah, I would do the exact same stitch for the outline. So you could do either a split stitch all the way around, or you could choose a different stitch if you really wanted to. So if you wanted to just do a regular, you could do a, what's it called, stem stitch around it. You use the same color or a different color, that's up to you. Or you could do, I tend to do this a lot, is offer a lot of suggestions because I feel like people don't realize you can use the stitches for more than one thing. Bye, off to work. Catch you on the replay. Have an awesome day. You too. I'm going to do another straight stitch here because I want to really tuck that in. And then over to this side. Now, if you've noticed, if I go to this side down here of this branch, I put my loop on that side. And then if I go to this side of the branch up here, I put my loop on this side. And that's because it's going to hide those stitches. So sometimes you can see the stitches. I'm talking about this part. Or Dana from Philadelphia. Nice to meet you. So yeah, sometimes when you put it like this, let me zoom in and see if you can see better. You can still see the little stitches. Like that. But if you put another one on the other side, you tend to only see the twisty part. Now, somebody said that outline stitch and stem stitch are different and they look different. And I watched about 4 different videos to try and figure out what is the difference so I could tell you guys what is the difference. And I can't freaking find one. I can't find one at all. On one of them, one of the ladies said that, I'm just going to add another straight stitch here because it looks like this branch is not connected. Like it's about to fall and hit a small child in the head. One lady, she swore that if you put the loop on the one side, that it gave a different look than if you put the loop on the other side. So I took my little practice hoop and tried that numerous times, and they look the same to me. So maybe I'm just not like a proper stitcher, or maybe I just can't see. Like I normally can see all that stuff, but I can't tell any of it. So Dana said, stem stitch you work from the top and outline is the bottom. Yeah, I can't, they look exactly the same to me. Like the technique is the same, the look is the same. They look exactly the same. Someone told me once that outline stitch was for straight lines Yeah, the loop up or down. Yeah. So that's what I was doing, was the loop up or the loop down. Couldn't tell difference at all. Hazard branch. Yeah, I had to fix that for the children, guys. I did it for the children. Yeah, I can't tell. So like I said, maybe that's why I'm not like a professional stitcher, because I couldn't tell. Someone's just called me. I hope this video still saves. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I couldn't tell right from wrong at all. So there you go. But I have found that you can hide the stitches if you do one on the top and one on the bottom and make them face each other. So there's that. I hope they don't call back. So yeah, you're just gonna do this for each of the branches. And if you have to, at the very, very top, you might have to do either less strands or just not do the stem stitch all the way. And that's okay, because it's so small, you probably won't notice. Hannah says, but if you turn the hoop upside down, then the loop is the other way around, isn't it? Technically, yeah, I think. Yeah, so what Dana, I think her name is Dana, was saying that, so I've done this one with the loops this way. So on the top one, I'm going to do the loops this way. And that will make it so you can't see the stitches. But I think that what Dana was saying is that the outline stitch is when you work it from the bottom. So if you've got a hoop and a straight line, I can't show you on this one. Hold on. So if you've got a straight line, yeah, like this, the outline stitch, one of the stitches, I can't remember which one. Yeah, one of the stitches works like this to make your twist. But you always put the loop down like this. Whereas the stem stitch, you always put the loop above the line. But to me, they make the same twisty line. I can't tell the difference of them. So what I've done for these branches, like that, because I want to have where you put the needle down hidden a little bit, I've done this one like that, and then this side like that, and then it kind of smashes them together. Drawings are the artist's own. They are copyrighted. Please don't take them and try to sell them or publish them. Thank you. Just wanted to make that clear. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Have we got any questions? Probably just concerns. Mostly just concerned for me. Like, Tori, you're freaking losing it. It's all right. It's been a hectic morning, so it's okay. I'm still having my coffee. So I can't wait to see what stitches that you guys come up with and what you decide to do. I bet it'll be amazing. And just try. The worst thing that can happen is that you hate it and you have to take it out. I feel it only really matters if you're doing a curve. Yes. So for the curve, I always say put the loop on the hump of the curve. That's the way I found that works the best for me. Let me get the drawings out again. So what I was saying is like this. If you've got a curve like this, then put the loop this way. And if you learn it like this, it tends to kind of go down like that instead of twisty like that. Yeah, again, drawings are the artist's own. Oh my gosh, I can just see people being like, stop it. Just be quiet and do your stitching. But yeah, that's it. That's it for today. So that's all I've got to teach you. So yeah, be sure to tag me in your stories or in your grid posts. I cannot wait to see what you've done. Ooh, Pim Stitch says, when I try to stitch by 2 strands for a whole tree, I cannot see the details, which are the branches. Then maybe you could do the branches first. I'm using 4 strands. You can always just stitch on top of it. It doesn't really matter, no, but we love your little talks. Don't stop. I'm glad somebody is finding them amusing. I can't tell you how many times I like turn off the live camera and I'm like, I should not save that. That should not be saved. Don't do it. But hey ho, that's life in it. But yeah, it really, like she said, it really doesn't matter which way you do it. These over here have got some more, they got more water during the spring. That's why they're a little bit chunkier. No, it's part of the charm. Never censor yourself. You guys crack me up. Okay, so yeah, be sure to tag. Be sure to use the hashtag. I don't know if the hashtags are working in the States yet. I know before with the election, they were like, you couldn't see any of their recent posts because they were trying to stop the misinformation of different facts pertaining to the election. So I'm not sure if in the States the hashtags are back to normal yet. Someone can go check, because when I look at them, they're fine. There's nothing, like they're how they always are. But someone was like, did you know that someone blocked your hashtag and now we can't use it anymore? And I was like, oh, who did that? Did someone report it or something? That's rude. But no, it's for all the hashtags in the States. So, as of last night, they were not working still. So yeah, if yours are not working, if you go to these ones are looking very different than the other ones. If you go to my profile and if you see, there's like my picture here, and then down there's like posts, then there's like reels, and there's Instagram TV, then there's guides, and there's shopping. And the very, very, very last one is like a square with a little arrow down here like that. And that's pictures that I've been tagged in. So if you tag me in the actual picture, then it'll show up in that feed. So if you want to do it that way, you can always look for different people there. So this is going to be my last one, my last little branch. And then I will catch up throughout the week with this one and obviously with this one because I haven't finished that yet either. So no shame if you haven't. You know you're not behind. You work on it on your own schedule. So please don't stress out with the whole, oh, I'm so behind. You're not. It's okay. I know someone ordered it last night and they tagged me in their post and they were like, oh, I'm already stressing out because I'm a week behind. I'm like, you started a week later. You're not behind. Relax. Just relax. Listen to the sound of my voice. People like that kind of stuff, you know, the ASMR stuff. So there we are. Boom. Done. So there's all my little branches, and then I'll do all of the split stitch later. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow at the regular time of 10 o'clock. Okay? So enjoy your day. Be sure to tag me. Use the hashtag anyways, because when they finally get working again, we'll see everyone's work. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely Monday. I'm off to pack orders, and I will see you tomorrow. All right? Bye.